Hello world, and hello especially intrepid regular viewers. Welcome any new viewers. So much has happened in the last few days. I was so over the whole Muller thing that I had to ring Dave from Moonride and we had a conversation about that. We both feel there is a bit of an energy shift coming up. But in the meantime, Muller has to realise and acknowledge, sorry, people don't read anymore, let alone read 400-page reports. He has to speak. That's all I'm going to say about Muller before we move on to Flynn. Really, a multi-star general working as a foreign agent, not declaring it. What was he paid to do? To destroy the life of a Turkish cleric in the US, someone he didn't even know, took money for it. But what's interesting about Flynn, apart from selling out himself and training up his son in criminal activity, I mean, these people, far from being American leaders, they're crime bosses, just like the Trump clan. It's just disgusting. And that's one of the reasons, viewers, that this has to go much further, deeper. It's not going to finish in the next 5 minutes because the corruption is so deep, right? Absolute corruption. So there was the Flynn stuff, but another disturbing story during the week that I caught on Rachel Maddow was a guy called, hold on while I look at my notes, Stephen Cork. Who's heard of Stephen Cork? So he was the head of a very small federal savings bank in Chicago, a veterans bank. And when Manafort was running out of people to borrow money from, Cork agreed to lend him money. Even though this bank doesn't have much and it's supposed to be for veterans, he effectively bribed Manafort by giving him millions of dollars in an undeserved loan. Apparently the staff at the bank said, no, he doesn't qualify, he doesn't pay it back, don't do it. He overrode everyone, used the money in the bank, sent the money in the bank to Manafort, leaving the bank without funds, and sent a list of jobs he'd like. And he actually got as far as an interview with the Pentagon. I mean, this is banana republic stuff. You can't believe it, can you, really? So right now I'm going to have a little look at Flynn, because after the terrible things he did, like selling out his soul, he's been let off because of the cooperation he's given. So you'd have to think it's a hell of a lot of important information. So let's have a look. Flynn. Michael Flynn. I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on him. Just have a look. What I'd like to know is the information. What did Flynn trade for his deal? What did he trade? It's the ripper from such King of Wands. Right. Okay, so not surprisingly, we head off here with the Seven of Swords. I hope you can see it. I know this lighting's not optimal, viewers, but I'm stuck. This is the only place I've got at the moment, so I'm hoping you can see the cards here. So the question was about the information. He's talking about other rip-offs that have been done internationally over the water. He was waiting for his ship to come in, which certainly did, in the forms of millions of dollars from a Turkish strongman. So international rip-offs. Lies and deceit and misinformation and misunderstandings. So the thing about the moon card too, if you look at the actual full moon image, it's yellow like the sun. So some readers interpret this card as an eclipse. For that reason, I don't normally see it like that, but to me it's quite clearly that. Flynn has managed to offer the Mueller investigation and then subsequent investigators this eclipse energy, something that's going to blow people out of the water. This isn't to do with the Turkish stuff. This is American stuff. And something to do with the King of Wands. Now, I don't get Trump as the King of Wands. He's normally the Emperor or the Greedy King. So it's someone else in a very high position who Flynn has dobbed in about how they've ripped off someone. So, who is the King of Wands in this story? Let's see. I'll try a rider-waite clarifier here. Oh, I think it might be Russia. I'm hearing Russia. I think the King of Wands might be Putin. We'll see. This is a funny card. The Four of Wands. The thing to keep in mind here is there is a celebration by some people and not others. So, in other words, the King of Wands is pleased by this information and then displeased because this is the card also of a celebration falling short. So what I'm picking up from that is Russia. So I think Flynn has given information of someone's dealings with a Russian oligarch. It was all very pally in the beginning, but now I'm hearing marked man. Flynn is a marked man. First digression, viewers. Some people have expressed concern for Mueller's safety, and you'd have to, in a gun culture, talk about shoot the messenger. Even if the messenger only spoke in word salad, nonetheless, his name's associated. He will have stepped up security into the retirement. I think Flynn could be a marked man, not over the Turkish stuff that will be in the news, the testimony he gave. Who does it involve? Who does it involve? So, I'm going to my other Vera Sibilla. My little Italian cards, they're so cute. They're very cute. They're so tiny. So, at the American end, I'm sure there's a Russian connection. Who at the American end? Okay, let me bring you down. All right. Interesting. There was hope. First card is hope. There was hope this deal had come off, and in fact, it did come off. What was the deal about? Hold on to your hats, viewers. You may be astonished to know it was about money, right? So denaro, money in the cupboard. This is the clincher of an enemy. Money for the enemy. That confirms to me it's Russia. It didn't give me who it was at the American end. So, given what I was just talking about with Stephen Cork and the Chicago Bank, when all that played out with Manafort, it was Kushner who signed off on Cork, this nobody, being offered all these high-level jobs. I wonder if it's not Kushner. All right, now I've had a lot of requests for Justin Amash. This is the world we live in. Someone stands up with just a very no-nonsense sort of point of view, happening to point out that the Constitution was being vandalised, and he's become a national hero simply because he's a Republican who spoke out. Not a national hero, I suspect, in the Republican Party. But he had nothing to lose, and good on him for saying something. I mean, I'm sure he's very conservative on LGBT and other issues, but you can't have everything, at least if he stands up for this. Let's see. Justin Amash. I saw the clip, you know, full marks to him getting up and saying it, and wasn't the reaction fascinating? This is why Democrats have to go on Fox News as well. People actually respond to reasonableness sometimes. You're going to get the hardcore, rusted-on nutcases, but there are a lot of people in the middle who just don't follow the fine print and aren't sure. So let's have a look. Justin Amash. He has stood up. All right. Here we go. I'm going to adjust this slightly. Hopefully we'll have enough room. I'm going to do a bigger card on him. All right. Let us start here. Now, in the beginning, he has the Lover's card. So in this context, he's a likable guy. He can literally work across the aisle. There's sort of that symbology there, finding friends. You'll probably find he's got now more Democrat friends than Republicans, given that he did speak out. What was behind him speaking out? He's really over it. The lies, the deceit, and the hogwash that has gone forward. Bear in mind, what sets Justin Amash apart? What makes him different from all the other Republicans? Well, he read the report. And if you do read the report, and I'm still struggling with it because I'm time poor, he actually read it. And it's obvious if you read the report what happened. And so he read the report. The other Republicans are not reading the report. It's la, 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 don't want to know. So it was the blatant lies and deceit that actually got into his little conservative mind, and he thought, this is no good. Right. Further back, he gets the King of Wands. This could be his father, possibly, or an influential older male who gave him his values. Such an old-fashioned word, given that they're, you know, almost an extinct species now, values and ethics. So he's been informed, he's been moulded and shaped by decent ethics. Underneath this is his essential energy, the Page of Swords. So he's got the youthful energy of truth, justice, and the American way, whatever that is. We could spend 6 hours arguing what that might mean, but in the generic sense, he sees it as the right thing to do. And there's a fearlessness to the Page of Wands. And he brings a message, because he's a page, so he brings a message about truth and justice. What is over this reading? The Three of Wands. Look, could be many things. He could have been influenced by overseas ideas or thinking. Does he have a parent or grandparents from somewhere else? Amash. I don't know the ethnicity of that surname, but I'm getting a vibe here that it wasn't just the straight American Leave It to Beaver type experience that informed the older people in his family. It was from somewhere else. Now, he gets a setback here in his immediate future, and that setback is being frozen out by the Republicans. He would not be surprised by this. I think he's prepared for it. Who had heard of Justin Amash before last Tuesday or whenever it was? He's actually done himself a service because he's catapulted himself to the national stage and ironically almost into the history books as standing up early. So he had nothing to lose. He could have worked away in the back blocks for another 25 years, or now he can be front and centre as things unfold as a contender. I don't mean for the presidency as such, I just mean providing some opposition to this GOP going along with Stockholm Syndrome. Now, here we have in the Three of Wands, which I think is overseas influence, and for a change that doesn't mean money laundering. Okay, so what is his challenge? Yes, he can expect a challenge. He'll have to battle them all. See these two? He's frozen out already by the party keeping battling. But he's a strong young thing, and he would have weighed this up. So he's taken a few licks from them. You can imagine the phone calls and emails he got. But he's still hanging in. More Wands energy there. How does he see himself? Hierophant. So he sees himself, it all comes back to these old school values, right? He sees himself as the Hierophant in the Republican Party, reminding them that they are allegedly the party of law and order and conservative government and strict religious beliefs, etc., etc. So he's single-handedly claiming that authority and that space. So good on him. Don't get me wrong, viewers. You know, you don't have to tell me all the hideous things he might be thinking and doing in his other conservative life. We're focusing here on this particular episode of the Town Hall. Okay, the atmosphere he's working in. Have a look at this line, will you? It starts here with the old guard freezing him out, taking him on, stabbing him in the back. God, they're hideous people. They are such hideous people. So, what's coming further out? These cards are so related, are they not, viewers? He's going to fight them all off. Good on him. Good on him. They are doing their best to bring him undone, but he's standing his ground. Now, let's go further. Ace of Pentacles shining on him. He's not worried about the money. The Five of Pentacles out in the cold is a money card when you don't have money. So this is telling me this line, which is the GOP, they're going to starve him of funds. But you know what? And I'm thinking this could be a big Republican donor who is not happy with what's going on. There are Republican donors who are, but there are others who are not, particularly with these ridiculous tariffs. I think he's going to be fine financially moving forward. I think a big GOP heavyweight financier is going to back him, and they could do worse. Further down the track, Chariot moving forward. He's going to survive all these battles and move forward. Before we move on from there, I just want to look quickly at the reaction. The reaction at the town hall was fascinating in itself. In fact, more important than what he had to say in many ways. So let's do that. We'll have a look. So, how will I phrase this question? I think I'll make it a bit more general. How are middle-of-the-road Republicans feeling? There's class issues here. America, like Australia, pretends we're classless societies, and we're so not. So, let's have a look here. Middle-of-the-road Republicans. How are they feeling about Amash? What does he represent to them? All right, not going to be easy. He speaks the truth in a convincing fashion. I presume most of you have seen the clip. You only need a few minutes to... You know, he's impressive. The way Pete Buttigieg and so many of the young ones coming through are impressive speakers. He gives them hope again. Their hopes and wishes. There is a sane young person expressing what they believe. They see him as hard-working. That's good. But they know, because this is about them, not him, they know that things are not right with the party. They're staying awake at night worrying about what happened to the GOP they knew or what they thought it stood for. This is very distressing to them too. And we tend to forget about this group a bit because we're so outraged and exhausted and following this absolute moment in time of Republicans abrogating their responsibilities. By just going party, they're putting party before country. I'm not someone who rambles on about patriotism. I think it's actually caused so many wars and so many problems, and I'm of the school of thought we are world citizens, right? We just have a cultural flavour and twist on that. But this is patriotism in the more genuine sense. They are prepared to turn their backs on their country just to get another tender here or there. So, back to how they're feeling. They are very distraught. They are feeling isolated, the hermit, from their own party. They don't feel they are being represented in this conversation. With these trillions of dollars of debt, the tax cuts that haven't had any impact for the middle class, the idea that you're going to pay more for everything, that you just run up the national debt, is anathema to them. They are feeling embattled. That's curious in a way. Yeah, they're not feeling heard at all, which is why they loved him as a speaker. Who is representing the reasonable GOP? It certainly isn't, you know, the Susan Collins and people. I mean, I've grown from thinking, oh, she was all right as an old chook, get me, to thinking she's an out-and-out witch bag. Oh, I think she's just dreadful. But who is middle-of-the-road GOP now? All right, so Amash is going to forge on, and I'm going to forge on, viewers. So I'm going to upload this, and my next video may well be controversial. So keep that in mind. I love you guys. Keep the comments rolling in. I try and read every comment. I love our forum. It's very precious Thanks for hanging in. All right, more to come.